I was 24 when this happened, working as a line cook at a mid-range family restaurant just off the highway. Nothing fancy. Think laminated menus, bottomless soda refills, and a kitchen that always smelled faintly of bleach and fryer oil, no matter how hard we scrubbed. I'd been there almost 2 years, long enough to feel invisible, which suited me fine. I'm not a dramatic person. I keep my head down, do my job, go home. This was late October, the kind of night where it gets dark early and the air feels heavier than usual. I was scheduled for a closing shift, 5 p.m. to whenever the last customer finally left. Weeknights were usually dead after 9, especially on Tuesdays. Most of the staff hated those shifts because tips were bad, but I liked the quiet rhythm of them. That night started like every other. I clocked in, tied my apron, nodded at Marco on the grill, and checked the prep list. The dining room was mostly empty, just a couple in a booth, and an older guy eating alone near the window. Soft, classic rock played through the speakers, barely loud enough to notice. Everything felt slow and predictable. If you'd asked me then, I would have said it was one of those forgettable shifts, the kind you barely remember a week later. I only remember it now because I still can't fully explain what happened, or why someone would go to that much effort for reasons I'll probably never know. By 6:30, the dinner rush we'd hoped for never came. Tickets printed lazily, one every few minutes. Burgers, chicken tenders, a grilled cheese with tomato soup. I worked sauté that night, mostly reheating soups and plating pasta. Easy stuff. The front of house crew was just as bored. Jenna, one of the servers, leaned against the expo counter, scrolling through her phone whenever the manager wasn't looking. Every now and then she'd sigh dramatically and say, "I swear Tuesdays are cursed." Around 7, a man came in alone. I didn't think much of it at first. Plenty of people ate solo. He looked normal enough. Mid-30s, maybe early 40s. Dark hoodie, jeans, baseball cap pulled low. He asked for a booth instead of a table, which wasn't unusual, but he specifically requested one out of the way. Jenna seated him in the far corner near the bathrooms. I noticed him mostly because he didn't order right away. Jenna went back twice, and both times he waved her off, saying he needed more time. When he finally ordered, it was just coffee. No food. "Maybe he's waiting for someone," Marco said when I mentioned it. "Or he's broke," Jenna shrugged. The rest of the shift dragged. The older guy left. The couple paid and lingered. By 8:30, it was just the man in the corner booth and one other table near the front. I started breaking down my station early, wiping surfaces, restocking for the morning crew. The smell of cleaner mixed with burnt coffee hung in the air. Nothing felt wrong yet, just quiet. Too quiet, maybe. But restaurants get like that when the night stretches on. The first thing that bothered me was how long he stayed. By 9, he was still there, still just drinking coffee. His cup had been refilled at least 3 times. Each time Jenna approached, he'd look up at her with this fixed half-smile that didn't reach his eyes. She joked about it at first. "Corner booth guy is really committed to that caffeine," she said, rolling her eyes. When I glanced over through the kitchen window, I noticed he wasn't on his phone. He wasn't reading. He was just sitting there, hands folded on the table, staring toward the kitchen doors. I told myself he was people watching or zoning out. I've done that before. But then I realized something else. Every time the swinging doors opened, every time one of us walked out with a plate or crossed the dining room, his eyes followed the movement, not casually, precisely, like he was tracking. At one point, I stepped out to grab something from dry storage near the bathrooms. As I passed his booth, I felt it, that uncomfortable awareness of being watched. I glanced sideways, and he was looking straight at me. Not angry, not smiling, just watching. I looked away immediately, annoyed at myself for even caring. Kitchens make you paranoid sometimes. Long hours, fluorescent lights. A few minutes later, Jenna came back into the kitchen, her voice lower. "Hey, have you talked to that guy at all?" "No," I said. "Why?" "He keeps asking what time you close, like, specifically you guys, the kitchen." I shrugged. "People ask that all the time." "Yeah," she said slowly. "But I told him 10 and he said, that gives us time then." "Us?" She nodded. "That's what he said." We stood there for a second, listening to the printer hum softly. "He's probably just weird," I said, not fully believing it. Jenna didn't laugh. By 9:40, the last table left. Chairs were flipped, lights were dimmed. The dining room felt hollow, every sound echoing slightly. The man in the corner booth was still there. Our manager, Rick, approached him with that forced politeness managers use when they want someone gone without causing a scene. "Hey there," Rick said. "Just so you know, we're closing up." The man looked at his watch slowly, too slowly. "I know," he said. His voice was calm, flat. "I'm waiting." "For?" Rick prompted. The man glanced past Rick toward the kitchen, toward me. "For him." Rick laughed awkwardly. "Yeah, that's not how this works. You'll need to head out." The man stood. He was taller than I expected, lean. He left exact change for the coffee on the table. As he walked toward the door, he paused near the kitchen entrance. I was stacking pans, pretending not to notice him. He leaned slightly toward the opening. "Busy night," he said. "Not really," I replied. He nodded like he'd confirmed something. Then he left. The relief I felt was immediate but incomplete, like when a storm passes but the air still feels charged. We finished closing faster than usual. No one joked, no music. Just the scrape of chairs and the hum of the dishwasher. When I stepped outside to take out the trash, the parking lot was almost empty. One light flickered near the far edge. My car was parked under it. As I walked, I heard footsteps. I stopped. The footsteps stopped. I told myself it was my imagination, or Rick behind me. I turned around. No one was there, but the corner of my eye caught movement near the dumpster enclosure, just a shape shifting back into shadow. My chest tightened. I dropped the trash bag and went back inside without looking again. We closed together that night. No one said it out loud, but no one wanted to leave alone. In the parking lot, keys jangled nervously, engines started. Goodbyes were rushed. I waited until everyone else pulled out before getting into my car. As I unlocked it, I noticed something on my windshield. A folded receipt. My receipt. The one from the corner booth. On the back, written in careful block letters, were the words, "You forgot to ask me why." My hands shook as I got inside and locked the doors. I sat there longer than I should have, scanning the lot, heart pounding in my ears. Nothing moved. No headlights. No footsteps. I drove home a different route. Checked my mirrors constantly. At a red light near my apartment, I saw a car pull up behind me, headlights off, just idling. The light stayed red longer than usual. I didn't move. Neither did the car. When the light turned green, I went. Fast. The car stayed. I pulled into my apartment complex and parked under the brightest light I could find. I sat there, waiting. No car followed me in. That night I barely slept. Every sound outside my window felt amplified. Every passing car made my stomach drop. The next morning, I checked my phone. There was a new message request on social media from an account with no photo. The message read, "Next time, I'll order food." I blocked it, reported it, changed my privacy settings. I called out of work for the first time in 2 years. I told the police. They took notes, asked questions, nodded sympathetically. They said without a direct threat, there wasn't much they could do. The restaurant checked the cameras. The footage showed him sitting there, watching, writing on the receipt, leaving normally, no sign of him in the parking lot afterward. Rick suggested I switch to mornings. I quit instead. For weeks I jumped at every notification. Every unfamiliar face in a store made my pulse spike. I started carrying my keys between my fingers without realizing it. Nothing else happened. No more messages, no sightings. That almost made it worse, because I never knew if it was over or if I just stopped being convenient. It's been 3 years. I work in an office now. Bright lights, open spaces, people everywhere. Sometimes, when I sit down at a restaurant alone, I feel it again. That awareness, that sense of being observed. I always ask for a table near the front now, and I never stay past closing, because I still don't know what he wanted, and I don't know why he chose me.